This episode contains subject matter not suitable for all audiences. Discretion is advised. We turn to a quiet corner of Virginia, a world of old money, influential families, and seemingly perfect lives. Eleanor Hoppe had all the markers of privilege: ties to a powerful legal dynasty, a prominent ex-husband, a home in Charlottesville, and 2 kids who called her mom. But beneath the surface lay something far darker, something that would make her stand out amongst her prestigious family, something that would shatter every assumption about who she really was. What happens when the unthinkable creeps into a life that looks untouchable? How does a seemingly ordinary person step across lines most of us can't even imagine? Join us as we unravel the case that left the community stunned and forced everyone to ask, how well do we really know the people around us?
Whispers in the dark, blood on innocence page. Truth hides behind the lies, locked inside they'd rage. Shadows creeping across the floor, silence screaming through the door. Criminal AF can't deny, burning bright under blackened sky. Criminal AF, hear the cry, echoes loud, we can't outrun the night.
Well, we're back for another episode of the new Criminal AF. What's good, everybody? I'm Dave Jari.
And I'm Casey Moore.
And today we'll be discussing the disgusting story of a Virginia mother who wanted to be more than motherly to an 8-year-old girl. This story was actually brought to me by our friend Chris Owen a while back, so we're finally getting to it. And as we stated in the beginning, discretion is strongly advised. But before we dig into all that shit show, let's go over a few points. This is Criminal AF. We will be discussing all sorts of fucked up and sickening true stories, which means you may be exposed to talk of murder, rape, torture, and a smidge of vulgarity.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge. A little bit. So if that offends you, well, frankly, that's a
you issue.
Yeah, that's a you problem. Yep. But if this is your vibe,
welcome to the debauchery.
We got it right. All
Yeah.
right. A few more things before we begin. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, where you will get both video and audio versions of this episode, as well as Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, or wherever you prefer to listen to this chaos. We also have a new YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You can follow that at
I just discovered this.
CAF Pod. CAF Pod.
CAF Pod.
Yeah, CAF Pod.
Calf Pod.
Yeah. So anyway, while you're there checking out the episodes, drop us a 5-star rating, leave a positive review, and share it with your unhinged friends. Then swing by patreon.com/criminalaf, where you'll find 2 tiers to help support our show. We have a $2 tier for general support, which is you saying, hey, great job on the show.
Fantastic job on the show.
But instead of using your mouth, you're throwing $2 a month at us. And then the other tier is just $3 more per month, and this gets you priority access and ad-free drops of both Criminal AF.
I love how you made that sound cheaper than it actually is.
And the Cerealholic for $3 more.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. You also get bi-weekly episodes of Behind the Chat, where we discuss behind-the-scenes stuff that leads up to our episodes, and
whatever else we feel like talking about.
Yeah, that's all on the Patreon. You also get our full catalog and all the bonus filth that we decide to drop. So links are in the show notes. Go support the madness if you're feeling generous. Now, what do you say we cook up a little dose of debauchery?
I say we do it.
Dose of debauchery. There it is. I couldn't come up with any other intro.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
2 guys knocking each other out while trying to break into a store.
Right.
Doesn't get better than
Throwing a brick at a glass window and bounce off and knocking each other out. Yeah.
That would totally be us.
Yeah.
If we were criminals.
Yeah, I'm not very good.
Yeah, we would. Yep. Knock each other out and get caught immediately.
Yeah. All right. So this one is going to be a little lighter than the last one. The last one we went dark with the mom getting stabbed 100 times and the boy being thrown to the alligators. We're not going down that path this time.
No. What are we doing?
So, since our main story takes place in Virginia, we're going to stick to Virginia. Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay.
To be specific. All right. Now, In a bizarre twist that blends superhero cosplay with petty crime, a 20-year-old man from Silver Springs, Maryland, named Joel Brown, allegedly turned himself into a real-life villain dressed as Spider-Man to rob a family-owned gaming store in Fairfax, Virginia.
What? All right,
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Right.
You can't turn yourself into a villain and then
be
dress as a
Spider-Man.
superhero.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, this is what happens in Fairfax, you know. So the incident unfolded at Gaming Giant, a beloved local collectible shop specializing in trading cards, board games, and other nerdy treasures located at 4021 University Drive. There you go.
That.
A free plug.
Nerdy treasures.
Yeah, free plug for you. On the night of Friday, March 14th, 2025, authorities say Brown forced entry into the store after closing hours. Security footage captured the suspect in a full Spider-Man costume, complete with the iconic red and blue suit and face-covering mask, methodically targeting high-value items. Now, this wasn't just a random smash and grab. According to the store's owner, speaking to Fox 5 DC, Brown had visited during regular business hours earlier to scout the place. He specifically inquired about certain graded cards locked in a secure display case, rare, professionally authenticated specimens from blockbuster franchises like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and One Piece. Now, these slabs, which are cards sealed in protective cases with official grades, can fetch thousands of dollars each on the secondary market, especially pristine examples of chase cards featuring fan favorite characters like Goku, Luffy, and Pikachu. The only one I know there is Pikachu.
Pikachu.
I don't know. Pikachu. Satisfied with his reconnaissance, Brown allegedly returned under the cover of darkness, still in costume, perhaps hoping the getup would obscure his identity or add an absurd layer of disguise. He made off with numerous graded slabs plus sealed Pokemon products, totaling nearly $10,000 in value.
That was my attempt at a whistle.
Yeah. Yep. Community tips flooded in quickly after the break-in, perhaps aided by the memorable Spider-Man attire caught on camera, and Fairfax police identified and arrested Brown just days later on March 19th. He faced charges of burglary and was released on unsecured bond.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. The owner of Gaming Giant expressed feeling deeply violated by the crime, highlighting how such thefts hit small family-run businesses hard in an already competitive collectibles market. Now, this theft comes amid an ongoing frenzy surrounding trading cards, particularly Pokemon. Demand has exploded in recent years, fueled by nostalgia, investment speculation, and new releases. Stores have struggled with the chaos around restocks, like the infamous 2021 parking lot brawls at Target. I don't know. I guess this was like a nationwide thing once the Pokemon.
The trading card game's gotten crazy.
Yeah,
It's insane what some of those cards are fetching for money.
and I guess there were all-out fights that erupted at a Los Angeles Costco in January of 25 over.
Imagine just being
Pokemon
at a
packs.
Costco or Target, just trying to do like some grocery shopping,
Right.
And you got a bunch of adults
I need to get my
or kids,
bulk condiments.
yeah, and they're just fighting over cards, pieces of paper.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Excuse me, I'm my Dunkin'. Gotta have my donkeys. So major retailers like Target even temporarily halted sales of Pokemon and sports cards to curb the violence and theft. As early as 2026, the hype shows no signs of slowing. Pokemon is celebrating its TSGs. Do you know anything about Pokemon cards? You know what a TSG is? Does anybody know what a
trading
TSG
card
is?
game?
Anybody?
So
Trading card game.
That's my guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I was big into Pokemon when I was 10.
So 24 years ago?
Like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So pretty recently.
Casey's over the hill.
No, I had all.
If you're over the hill, then I got one foot in the grave. Jesus Christ.
I had all the original 150 whatever Pokemon
Pokemons?
cards, all of them. Yeah.
You had Charmander and
I had
Charizard.
Charizard, Charmander, like obviously I still have the Charizard card. But
Is it graded?
there's no point in grading it.
Oh, okay.
So my sister,
Yeah.
I think it was my sister, She got really mad at me one day,
No.
and she folded it in half.
Yeah.
But I still have it.
Yeah.
That's the only card I think I still have. I gave the rest of my cards away to my nephew when he was young.
Could be thousands, worth thousands nowadays. I think
yeah,
you should take her to a small claims court.
I would never. I probably just honestly, I probably deserved it, knowing me. But I was big when I was young and kind of grew out of it.
Yeah.
So
cool. All right, yeah.
Unlike these people.
Right. So the Pokemon, they're celebrating its TCG's 30th anniversary with special worldwide releases, including the Mega Evolution Perfect Order expansion dropping on March 27th this month.
Perfect Order.
Yeah, this month. Products like booster display boxes, elite trainer boxes, and limited illustration collections are all generating buzz with collectors and investors eagerly waiting drops. I can just smell the virginity.
Oh, poor people.
In the end, Joel Brown's web-slinging escapade proved no match for modern surveillance, community vigilance, and good old-fashioned police work. Far from being a friendly neighborhood hero, he now faces the consequences of turning a childhood fantasy into an adult felony. With great power comes great responsibility, and apparently, in this case, a pretty memorable mugshot.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Good old Uncle Ben.
Yep.
Yeah, he said that. At least in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
What?
With great power comes great responsibility.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm assuming they.
Are you a Marvel or a DC guy?
Oof. All right, so if I wasn't expecting this question.
Okay.
I'm a huge X-Men fan.
Well, since we're talking about
superheroes,
and Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is Marvel.
He's Marvel, yeah. But Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man for the
Sony.
movies. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, that's a for a behind the chat discussion, but because that's a whole other thing. But I'm a big X-Men fan.
Mm-hmm.
I also which is Marvel.
Okay.
And they were owned by Fox. Now Disney bought them.
Mm-hmm.
So now Disney has them. But yeah, big X-Men fan. And so for that aspect,
mm-hmm.
I do, and I kind of like Spider-Man, but I think Spider-Man, I don't know, like when the movie came out in like 2001 or something like that, like it really blew up and all that stuff. And I don't know, but it was good. I like the movies, and maybe that made me like Spider-Man a little bit more. Yeah. But yeah. So in that aspect, it's hard for me to pick, but DC's like darker tone, like I love Batman and all that stuff.
Joker.
I don't know. I feel like maybe I would lean more towards DC typically. Okay. But it is tough. I think I'm more split. Yeah.
Nerd.
But yeah.
Anyway, no.
I'm assuming they well, what about you? What do you
I'm going to say Marvel.
Yeah.
I do appreciate all the Marvel movies. Okay.
The new ones.
I was never into like, the comic books.
Yeah.
And
I'm
not
not a comic book guy. Yeah. Definitely a movie.
Actually, I was never a Spider-Man guy.
Yeah.
Right. And to be perfectly honest, I never really got into any of this until Ethan started getting, because he's like, Dad, I really wanted to go. I think it was who's that guy who like time travels?
Bishop. He's into X-Men. Yeah.
No. Oh my God, what is his name?
Doctor Who? A Marvel character?
Yeah.
Oh,
but he's the Doctor Who version, Marvel version. God. Anyway,
all right.
Ethan wanted me to go see this movie. He's like, but before you see it, because there's going to be a lot of like throwbacks.
Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange, yes.
Okay. Does he time travel? Maybe he probably. I guess.
I don't know. He like warps or something.
Okay.
It's like
I didn't watch any of the new. I didn't watch like the new Doctor. Actually, I stopped watching all the Marvel films.
Yeah.
Or not the Marvel, the Avengers movies. After Endgame, because I was like, that's the end. Like it literally says it in the title.
Right.
So everything that happens after that, I don't care about anymore.
The Thanos.
Yeah, all that stuff. Because like I went on that journey for like 10 years with these people from Iron Man 1 to Endgame. That was like a 10-year journey, and I was like, all right. I was reasonably young in 2008, 18 or something when that movie came out. Yeah. So I watched it all the way through till Endgame 10 years later, and then I was like, all right. I'm putting a pin in it. I think it's done.
Yeah.
And so, but now naturally, because Disney wants to, they got to make more money. They're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. and all these people to do another Avengers movie, even though they're all dead or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I stopped watching after that. So
yeah. So Ethan really wanted me to go see this movie. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll go watch it with you. He's like, but you have to watch all the movies leading up to it before we go see this one.
that was before you realized there were 20 of them or something.
Right. So he made me a list of all these movies that I had to watch.
Yeah.
So I just went on like a 3-week
bender.
Marvel bender.
Yeah.
Of just catching up and like learning like everybody and yeah. As far as the Batman, DC, there's only one Batman movie I like, and that's The Dark Knight.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably like the
Christopher
best.
Nolan. He's the one that did it. Yeah,
But as far as like the Green Goblin, the Green Goblin is DC, right?
Marvel.
Yeah. Oh no,
That's Spider-Man.
who am I thinking of?
Batman,
Joker, Penguin.
yeah. Oh, DC.
I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway, yeah, I think DC, like as a film franchise, totally like just messed up. Like the whole thing's a mess. They had like, all these different people coming in and doing this, and then they canceled Zack Snyder's DC movies and like all of his old vision. And then they brought James Gunn, who did the Guardians movie for Marvel. They brought him over to DC and, to do stuff. And, he's definitely helped in that regard to some degree, but the continuity is like just nowhere near as good as what Disney was able to do with Marvel.
Right.
And I think that's kind of pushed people off of it. But I think the potential that DC has, just because it's been around longer, it's kind of like a darker themed, genre or whatever movie.
Yeah.
They have the potential to do really great stuff. They need someone to and I guess they were trying to do this with James Gunn, but now that Paramount is buying Warner Brothers and this whole thing, who knows what will happen in the future. But if they can get this guy to just do his thing and then try to craft something like what Marvel has, but use those darker tones and themes, maybe DC could have the potential to be better than Marvel. But yeah, I would imagine anyone that's grown up with comparing Marvel and DC from like the 2008 and on, they're probably going to all pick Marvel because it was put together better.
Right. Well, maybe we can ask Doctor Strange to give us our last 5 minutes back. But thanks, Casey.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Some people could find this interesting. Maybe not our audience, but
I'm just playing.
Yeah, there's a whole thing going on with it. But but yeah, I don't know. I'm getting back to this guy.
Right.
I'm assuming that obviously it sounds like they caught him by him. I don't know if he stole the cards and then took off his superhero uniform and then got caught on camera, or if maybe he was trying to sell them, or maybe he wasn't trying to collect them, and maybe they caught him that way. But
or maybe before he went into the place, he didn't have his Superman hood on. Yeah. Or Spider-Man hood on.
Yeah. Or maybe he, because it did say that he went in there earlier. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how they put those two things together, but hey, good on the old fashioned police work. Yeah. And whatnot. I'm sure J. Jonah Jameson is like, I knew that Spider-Man was a scoundrel. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody got that right.
I'm sure somebody did, but it's a criminal. But yeah, no, it is crazy how much some of these trading cards are going for. And it's even crazier that Target and Costco stopped selling them for a while because the violence was getting too out of control, because it is probably pretty lucrative. I mean, I imagine the markup on some of these things is nuts.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, how much does it make to, create a Pokemon card?
30 cents.
If that. It's probably Jake Paul's fault that they're shooting through the roof. Oh, he's the guy that he's into all that stuff too. Oh, yeah, and he just buys these cards at insane prices.
Marks up the
because he doesn't invest. He that's how he invests his money. He buys collectibles. Yeah. So right. I don't know if that's actually true, that he's the reason that they're, because they've been popular for years. Right. So there's whole online communities of people just, wheeling and dealing and trading. And there's all these conventions where people go and they are selling and trading cards with each other and stuff. And it's just, I
was looking up this, what is it? Gaming Giant, whatever this store was. Yeah. And I looked up their Facebook page, and their Facebook page is just loaded with photos of events that they hold, like card swapping events, and whatever. And the place, like you have lines going out the door, and just the place is packed. So it is a good.
Hey, obviously people,
if you're into it,
people can do well with it or whatever. But
Right.
but yeah, they'll you know, you'll go up and be like, oh, you know, how much for this or that or whatever, and they're like looking up the price, like the real time price online or whatever. It's like it's just it's wild.
So it's actually it's not like actually trading cards.
I think I'm assuming like there will be
Like
there
I'll
are
give
people.
you a 3rd generation Pikachu for your Charizard something.
But it would be based on the value. Like I'll give you this card for these cards because they're worth roughly the same.
Right.
You know.
Or like I have a double of this. So I have a double of this, but I don't have one of these.
Yeah.
I'll give you my double to get so I have like the collection or whatever.
And if it's like worth out, and I'll throw in $50 because it's worth, or whatever, you know. Yeah, I think it's literally like that.
Yeah.
So I don't see too many people actually playing the card game.
No.
It's more like it's just they're just wheeling and dealing for collectibles,
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they do have tournaments and whatever. But I remember as a kid trying to play that game, and it was just not fun, not a fun game to play.
Yeah.
It was just overly complicated.
It wasn't like the cartoon.
Yeah.
No, you just throw a ball at something.
And that's what every kid wanted to do. They just wanted it to be like the cartoon where they just let 2 animals loose and see what happens, you know? But yeah, it wasn't like that. So
yeah. All right.
obviously.
So
Anyway.
why are we here today?
I don't know.
We are
To talk about Pokemon cards, I think.
We are here to talk about a woman named Eleanor Hoppe.
Yes.
Okay. Otherwise known by her online persona, Tori for Fun.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, what does Tori want to do for fun? Let's learn.
She probably wants to play Pokemon.
She probably wants to be.
I hope that's what this story is about.
She wants to play something.
Mm.
We'll see. In the quiet suburbs of Charlottesville, Virginia, Eleanor Hunton Hoppe, a 45-year-old mother of 2 with deep roots and a prominent legal family, led what appeared to be an ordinary life. By day, she navigated the world of event planning and advocacy for parental rights and custody disputes, drawing on her education from the University of Virginia and her connections in elite social circles. But beneath this facade, a darker impulse simmered. This impulse didn't come to light until late February 2023 on an obscure online fetish website, a shadowy corner of the internet where individuals with taboo interests congregate to share fantasies and, tragically, illicit materials. Eleanor, using her anonymous profile named Tori for Fun, reached out to another user who was a single father with an 8-year-old daughter. She introduced herself as a fellow parent intrigued by taboo parenting, a euphemism that quickly escalated into illicit discussions about her desire to engage in abusive acts with children. Over the ensuing weeks, their conversations deepened via the site's messaging system. Eleanor, emboldened by the secrecy of the website, shared her background as a mother and expressed a keen interest in meeting the man's daughter for illicit purposes. To build trust, or perhaps to fuel the exchange, she sent the father child sexual abuse material, or CSAM, disturbing images and videos depicting child exploitation. The father, knowing full well that he was holding all the cards, played along and reciprocated just enough to keep Eleanor's interest piqued. As March unfolded, the virtual exchanges turned from fantasy to actual planning. Eleanor repeatedly voiced her eagerness to travel and participate in the abuse of the man's daughter. They brainstormed details, how to prepare the girl psychologically, suggesting phrases to build excitement for a fun hangout with an old friend that would take a slight turn. The father proposed a neutral meeting spot, a nondescript motel in Warrenton, Virginia, about an hour's drive northwest of Washington, D.C., and roughly 90 minutes from Eleanor's home in Charlottesville. This location, in the rolling hills of Fauquier County, was chosen for its seclusion and proximity, making it an ideal location for such a meetup. As the first hints of spring sunlight filtered through the curtains of her Charlottesville home on the morning of March 16, 2023, Eleanor began what she believed would be a day of forbidden excitement. Recently separated from her ex-husband, a federal judge, and navigating the remnants of a contentious custody battle. Eleanor, hoping she would be able to escape her reality, began messaging the father. By the afternoon, the exchanges intensified. Eleanor fired off 3 images to the father, one showing a prepubescent girl being penetrated by an adult male while fully nude with her legs spread, another of a similar child lying on her back with her legs raised, enduring the same act, and a third of a young girl in white thigh-high socks straddling a man during penetration. Before leaving, Eleanor snapped a photo of a pink silk robe she had prepared and sent it to the father with the caption, "Her big girl robe for tonight." She packed a pink children's bag with items that betrayed her intentions: strawberry-flavored lubricant, silk children's undergarments, and the robe itself. With Charlottesville in her rearview mirror, perhaps after wrapping up a routine day or tying up loose ends from her recent divorce, she set off on the interstate, heading north on Route 29 through the Virginia countryside. The drive, under a likely overcast spring sky, took her past familiar landmarks, such as her alma mater, the University of Virginia. The messages flew back and forth as the miles closed and the anticipation grew. She provided chilling instructions on how to prepare the child. Wake her up and tell her to take a bath. Lots of bubbles, and go ahead and make sure you're helping soak both her apple and pussy in the tub, she typed, her words riddled with typos in her haste. And then when she gets out of the tub, just let her wrap up in a big towel and try to keep her cozy on the couch or something. But try not to let her get back in her clothes. I'll be there as soon as I can, and I'll get naked too. She urged him to lay out toys on the bedside table, so she knows that that is what we're here to do, emphasizing that the night was about nothing but having fun, feeling good, and f***ing. I am so bitter that I'm an hour away. It's unreal, she complained, her patience palpable as the miles ticked by. Upon arriving at the motel, a typical roadside establishment with anonymous rooms and a discreet setting, she parked in front of the room. Eleanor collected her belongings, oblivious to her surroundings, excitedly fixed on the illicit rendezvous ahead. Boom. Wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even really know
Where to go with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seemed like I don't really know a whole lot about the family, but seems like she was raised in a decent family, or in a family that's well connected to the community. I don't know.
Well, I guess her family goes, they're a family of attorneys and lawyers and whatever, and they have their own practice that's, I guess, pretty well off.
Yeah, it seems like they have a big practice.
Yeah, that dates back to the 1800s. Yeah. So it's reputable.
And she went to college and, seems like she had, access to all sorts of things in life that a lot of people don't have necessarily access to or easily have access to. Right. It makes you wonder, like, why? Why? What drove this behavior? Somehow she stumbled across this website. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is common knowledge that stuff like this exists out there, and where to,
Yeah. I don't know if I've, obviously sites like Google and whatnot.
Obviously, did you just Google like?
Right. No, they actually have like a lot of things. I'm sure some sites slip through the cracks, but you have to go to like the dark web. You have to go to what's it called? Tor, I think it is. Maybe TOR. It's like a totally separate.
And maybe she, I don't know, maybe is connected to people that know stuff and told her where to go, or maybe she just researched it and figured out where to go. But she obviously had to go onto this site and start communicating with people because for whatever reason. Yeah.
I wonder if she was on Epstein Island. You think?
I mean, at a minimum, it sounds like it.
Yeah, she fits right in. I mean, she's in the Washington D.C. area, right? She's only an hour away from.
And she comes from a prominent family, so maybe. Maybe when the rest of the files come out, you can actually. I think you can go online and Google people's names. Like they have like a search.
Yeah, but I think there has to be like open an open case against them. Like it has to be public knowledge, you know, because there are some that are still redacted. Because my daughter-in-law, she's big into that whole thing.
Okay.
And you know, she's been reading like all these stories, and if somebody's already has like a case pending against them, or if there's something going on, then you'll see their name. But if not, then it's redacted. So, because you'll still see like a page like, you know, blank did this to blank at blank location, you know, because it's not out in the public yet.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I would imagine if, you know, she's in there, you might be able to do some light reading and of the 3 million documents or whatever.
Casually scroll through them. Yeah.
Looking for her name.
Right.
But yeah, no, that, you know, it, and the fact that she like reached out to the father,
Yeah. I wonder how that conversation started.
yeah.
Like how does one conversation start? I have no idea.
I don't know, man.
Like,
this is
Did the father say, "Hey, I got my 8-year-old daughter here that I'm putting up for whoever wants her," or did she go in there and be like, "Hey, does anybody have an 8-year-old girl they want me to play with?" You know,
it's crazy to
like
me.
how does that even start?
This whole thing makes me uncomfortable.
No, I know,
So-
absolutely, and it's disgusting. Yeah,
And but it's like the
I think the reason why the story is kind of like, because like I said in the past, I hate any
thing to do with children.
anything to do with kids.
And the fact that there's people out there that, I mean, whatever, you go to these websites, I don't know, you know, what's on these websites, if you can just, if it's just a chat or if there's obviously pictures floating around or whatever,
Right.
like, that, you know, that's one thing in and of itself, but then to like engage in it or to be like a parent
Yeah.
and then be like, hey,
With
here's my
children-
kid, I want to, I want you to harm my kid or whatever, you know, like that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
That's like a whole nother level of evil,
Right.
you know?
Or in this case, she's looking for a child who is roughly the same age as her own daughters.
Yeah.
Who I think were 10 and 8 or 10 and 7 or some shit like that.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking like the father on the other side too,
Yeah.
who has a young daughter who wants to
Put her out
for
services.
and like the thing, like the harm, like all the things, like
Yeah.
the physical harm, the psychological harm, you know, and then the fact that like she's so amped up
Right.
driving there that she's like texting frantically, like
Yeah.
how to the
Misspelling
instructions
words and like,
yeah. and
Put her in a bathrobe. Make sure she doesn't get dressed.
not even thinking about any of that stuff.
Right.
Just, you know,
Like she
and-
just wants to go in there and just go right fucking to it. Like he's like, what was it? She was like, lay out the toys so she knows what to expect, you know? Like
yeah.
have everything ready because I'm going to come in that door and we're going right to it. You know, we're not dilly-dallying. We're not freaking, you know.
Yeah, like none of this stuff. Like, I mean, for one, I like watch like Chris Hansen's How to Catch a Predator or whatever like that. Like, I mean, did any of that even enter your like
Your mind?
the
Yeah.
wrongdoing, like the implications of not only doing the, you know, all the harm associated with that if this was like a real thing, and also like the you know what it's going to do to your family's reputation, you know, your husband, your ex-husband, your family, everything, like everything that just ripples out from this event,
Right.
you know, if you get caught or whatever, you know. And
Very, very self-serving, you know.
like it's crazy that all of that, just the urge or whatever that she's got going on or like just totally just blows through all that,
Yeah.
you know. And then I don't know, it's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean,
It's crazy to me that sites like this exist and that there are people that do like all of it. Like it's just, I don't know, I don't even really know what to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that if you are caught in the act of, you know, doing whatever with children, I think it should be brought to the fucking town square. Fucking just done. I really don't believe there's any rehabilitation.
Yeah, I don't know
You know?
if they're like what prompts this or you know, because there's lots of people apparently, you know, you hear stories all the time about stuff like this.
Yep.
I don't know how well of an understanding we have of what drives this type of behavior, whether it's like your upbringing or you know, mental illness or drugs or whatever.
I think that's like when people try to, you know,
make excuses.
I don't want to say make excuses, but I mean, in a sense, make an excuse that a lot of this is learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't think you just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I want to molest an 8-year-old child." you know?
Yeah. It's probably been building or something for a while.
Yeah.
And
You know, maybe something's didn't develop properly when you were younger. Maybe something happened to you, and now that's your learned behavior,
or you just know you can control young people, and you can manipulate them, and
could be a number of things.
I don't know. Yeah.
And I don't know. I know people who have worked with individuals that were in prison for various child crimes, and it's a revolving door. They leave, and they're back like sooner rather than later, you know? All right. So who is this lady, Eleanor?
Yeah. Let's dive more into her.
Let's dive a little bit more into her story. All right. In the heart of Virginia's storied legal landscape, where tradition and prestige intertwine like the vines of an old house, Eleanor Beaumont Hunton entered the world in 1978. Born into one of Richmond's most illustrious families, she was the latest branch on a family tree rooted deeply in the annals of American justice. Her ancestors had founded what would become Hunton, Andrews & Kurth, a powerhouse law firm that traced its origins back to the 1800s, with generations of Huntons shaping the legal and social fabric of the South. Her grandfather, Eppa Hunton IV, had steered the firm through its modern expansions, amassing influence and wealth that placed the family amongst Virginia's elite. Eleanor's father, too, carried the mantle, ensuring that the Hunton name evoked images of courtrooms, boardrooms, and the quiet power of old money. Growing up in the affluent enclaves of Richmond, Eleanor's childhood was a tapestry of privilege and expectation. A family home, likely filled with antique bookshelves groaning under the weight of legal tomes and family heirlooms, provided a backdrop for a life steeped in Southern gentility. She attended St. Catherine's School, an exclusive all-girls private institution known for nurturing the daughters of Virginia's prominent families. There, amid the manicured grounds and rigorous academics, Eleanor honed her intellect and social graces, preparing for a future that seemed destined to mirror her forebears' success. Summers might have been spent at family estates or traveling, absorbing the world through the lens of her heritage, or perhaps attending gatherings where judges, lawyers, and politicians mingled. Her upbringing emphasized education, community involvement, and the unspoken duty to uphold the family name, instilling in her a sense of purpose intertwined with the weight of legacy. As she came of age, Eleanor pursued higher education at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, a fitting choice for a scion of such lineages. UVA, with its Jeffersonian architecture and intellectual rigor, offered her a gateway to independence while remaining close to her roots. She graduated with a degree that equipped her for a career in law-related fields, eventually working as a paralegal, a role that allowed her to dip into the family profession without fully committing to the bar. Her early professional life reflected a blend of ambition and altruism. She gravitated towards roles in nonprofit and community organizations, perhaps seeking to channel her privileged background into meaningful service. For nearly 2 years, she served as the director of events and corporate partnerships at Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Central Blue Ridge, an organization dedicated to mentoring youth, where she likely organized fundraisers and built alliances to support vulnerable children in the community. Later, she transitioned to a position with a college aid company, helping families navigate the complexities of higher education financing, a role that echoed her own educational journey and family values. It was during these years that Eleanor's personal life blossomed into marriage and motherhood, adding new chapters to her story. She wed Joel Hoppe, a respected figure in the legal world, who would rise to become a federal magistrate judge in Virginia's Western District. Their union, forged in the shared circles of Virginia's legal elite, seemed a natural alliance of minds and backgrounds. Together, they built a family in Charlottesville, welcoming 2 daughters in the world in around 2011 and 2013. Life as a mother appeared to suit Eleanor. She balanced her professional endeavors with the demands of raising young girls, perhaps enrolling them in activities that mirrored her own upbringing: private schools, extracurriculars, and family traditions. The family home became a hub of domesticity, with Eleanor embracing the role of socialite and community figure, attending events and contributing to the local causes. Yet beneath the surface, strains emerged. The marriage, like many, faced challenges, culminating in a separation and eventual divorce filed in 2021, with Joel citing instances of adultery in court documents. Custody arrangements followed, and Eleanor navigated the complexities of co-parenting amid her evolving life. As the years progressed, Eleanor's path took unexpected turns, drawing her into shadows far removed from the polished veneer of her heritage. By early 2023, at the age of 45, she found herself entangled in a web of online interactions that would shatter her world. This dramatic turn marked the culmination of a life that had begun in privilege, but veered into unimaginable controversy, leaving her family, community, and legacy forever altered.
What a difference. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me because, she's got everything going for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's got, the education, she's got the connections,
Yep.
And it seems like, and then things just seem like they're getting great.
Yep.
Like she marries a federal magistrate judge.
Yep.
She has 2 girls. I mean, it seems like she's very busy in her life, and she's managing her family, she's managing all the girls and all these activities.
Mm-hmm.
She volunteers for the Big Brother Big Sister
Yep.
thing, doing events,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like she was somebody that if I knew her and I was in that community, I'd be like, oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Always volunteering, always doing stuff and all this.
Yeah.
I never in a million years would have entered my mind that she's surfing the dark web and doing all these things.
Right. She's like our lower income version of like the PTO mom,
Yeah.
who's involved in all the school, stuff and whatnot. Yeah.
I can't even imagine like people were, I mean, I can imagine because we've seen this in other instances probably, but where people are like, when all this news breaks, and they find out about her and what she's, alleged to have done and all that stuff, just their reactions and their shock and awe or whatever, like, I can't believe that.
Not only that, was like, oh, she was around my child.
Or yeah. And it makes me wonder if this is something that started after the divorce or as the marriage was ending, when all that happened and, now she's maybe not, as active in the community outreach and all that stuff. And, just
she had to find a new hobby
or something. And then maybe she just stumbled along across the dark web and just went down a rabbit hole. But
you don't stumble across the dark
I don't
web.
know.
You actually have, I've never been to the dark web, but I know people who have.
Yeah.
And it's not just something you stumble upon. You have to go through very deliberate steps to get there.
But I mean, I guess like was she just like sitting there one day looking at where she was, this well-to-do, busy, wife who had a good education and was busy with raising 2 young daughters. Obviously her husband's trying to move and do stuff, and he has got a good reputation.
You can kiss the Supreme Court goodbye now.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
But I bet like her, like I don't know. We'll get into it a little bit more once we find out what's going on with her. But a lot of questions come up. But I just want to touch on, we talked about last chapter. Was there a moment in her life where something may have occurred that made her feel like, this is,
I don't know. Was she like, did something happen to her? Has this always been in her? Like, or was she just like bored? Like, and that's just because like, what was the documentary with the mom who? Oh,
was texting her daughter, basically telling her to go kill herself.
Yeah. Like, it seemed like that, just kind of happened out of, later in life, out of nowhere or whatever.
Yeah, because she had,
but she did say it stemmed from her getting.
Well, she had a crush on her boyfriend, on the daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah, but I think she did say that. She was
when she was younger.
And when she was younger,
yeah,
she was molested
and stuff like that.
But
now this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I'm just putting it out there. It has no reflection on the institution that I'm about to name. But she did go to St. Catherine's.
Okay,
private school for girls.
Yep.
I mean, we've heard about private school for boys and what happens to boys when they go off to this place. who's to say nothing happened when she was there?
Yeah.
And kind of.
Well, it makes me wonder, like, she volunteered for, the big brother, big sister thing. Like,
Well, a lot of.
Did she do that because she wanted to actually help, or did she actually want to?
Well, a lot of
be around kids,
closeted pedophiles. They often put themselves around children.
Yeah.
Like I hate saying this because I was a youth football coach, but they do coaching, they do community events for children, they do other things. So yeah, I mean it's all fitting into place in my brain. Like I said, this is just my opinion, but
yeah, I don't know if she just had like a crazy busy life, just going at 110% for however long, and then it all just kind of stopped or slowed down big time after the divorce and all that stuff. Right. And I don't know if she just was like, I don't know. And then maybe that's what caused the dark thoughts to creep in, and before you know it, she's on the dark web websites. And
those dark thoughts are pretty powerful if you're going to give up.
45. I mean,
everything that
midlife crisis, maybe
it's possible.
I don't know.
It's possible.
It's just one of those things. I mean, yeah, she was a socialite, probably networking with all these crazy, like important, famous people.
Right.
And all of a sudden, maybe that after those connections just don't probably just go away just because you got divorced or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, sometimes people take sides.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, maybe she was like shunned.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if she like cheated on her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff. And we don't know necessarily all the particulars of the divorce and everything. But
it just says that adultery was mentioned in the
like
in
if
the
he was
divorce.
just like, telling all of his important friends that she was doing crazy stuff, and maybe they were like, oh, all right, maybe I don't want anything to do with her.
Well, there's something that you dug up. I don't know if we should talk about it now or a little bit later.
I guess, maybe I don't know. It's up
Do
to
it
you.
later?
I don't whatever. Later or now?
Okay. We'll put a pin in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it'll encourage people to keep listening.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's something that brings up the adultery part, and then the other thing. But are you good?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I don't know. It's a lot to unpack, but I just want to keep going because I think it'll help maybe flesh out some of these questions. Yeah.
So all right. So let's go to the moment where she finally gets to the hotel. All right. So Eleanor arrives at the motel in the late afternoon, the sun casting long shadows across the parking lot of the nondescript motel in Warrenton, Virginia. Eleanor pulled her car into the lot with her heart likely racing from a mix of adrenaline and delusion. She had driven from Charlottesville, believing she was about to meet a man, a father no less, who shared her darkest interests. Eleanor approached the designated room, eyes focused intently on the door she had time and time again fantasized walking through, oblivious to the world around her. But this fantasy was about to abruptly end. Undercover agents from the FBI's Child Exploitation Task Force swarmed the scene, their badges flashing under the daylight. She was arrested on the spot, handcuffs clicking into place as the weight of her actions began to sink in. This was no clandestine rendezvous. It was a meticulously orchestrated sting. The father she had been communicating with since late February on a fetish website and encrypted apps was actually an undercover officer. His tales of a vulnerable daughter nothing more than bait to expose her alleged predatory intentions. Eleanor, descendant of Virginia's legal royalty and a mother herself, now faced the stark humiliation of being led away in custody, her carefully curated life unraveling in an instant. Transported to a nearby facility, Eleanor was read her Miranda rights. To the agent's surprise, she waived them without hesitation, agreeing to an interview that would lay bare her mindset, or at least the version she chose to present. Seated in a sterile interrogation room, perhaps with the hum of fluorescent lights overhead and the faint scent of brewing coffee in anticipation for a long night, Eleanor began to speak. She admitted to disturbing child sexual abuse material during her conversations with the undercover officer, but framed it not as malice, but as a tactic. Quote, "I did it to keep him talking," she explained, suggesting it was a means to an end rather than genuine intent. When pressed on her purpose for traveling to the motel, Eleanor offered a startling excuse. She insisted she was there in order to help the child. In her telling, the meeting was an act of intervention, a misguided attempt to rescue the girl from perceived harm. Yet this narrative crumbled under scrutiny. She confessed she had never alerted law enforcement or any authorities about the supposed abuse, nor provided details on the man's identity or location during their weeks of communication. Her words painted a picture of delusion or desperation, a far cry from the explicit messages that had led her here, where she had enthusiastically discussed acts like anal exploration and shared videos of minors in compromising positions. The following day, March 17th, a criminal complaint was filed in a U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, charging her with distribution of child pornography, enticement of a minor, and attempted transportation of a minor for criminal sexual activity, offenses carrying potential life sentences. Eleanor's world contracted to the confines of the D.C. Central Detention Center, where she was held without bail, the facility's echoing corridors a stark contrast to her former life of community events and family outings. On March 20th, her initial appearance unfolded in a federal courtroom, where a magistrate judge, not her husband, was appointed counsel and granted the government's motion for temporary detention. 2 days later, at a full detention hearing, her pleas for release fell on deaf ears. The judge ordered her committed to custody, citing the severity of the charges and flight risk, while excluding time under the Speedy Trial Act to allow for preparation. As weeks turned to months, Eleanor's case wound through the pretrial labyrinth. An indictment followed on March 29th, formalizing the 3 felony counts and including a forfeiture notice for any involved property. At her arraignment on April 4th, via Zoom to accommodate the logistics of incarceration, she entered a not guilty plea, her voice steady as she professed innocence once more, echoing her post-arrest claims at the motel. The court set a status conference for June, again tolling speedy trial time in the interest of justice, as both sides delved into discovery, mountains of digital evidence, chat logs, and forensic analysis that painted a damning portrait. The ensuing year was a grind of continuances and negotiations, each status hearing pushing the horizon further. In June 2023, Eleanor filed an unopposed motion to delay, rescheduling to August, then to October, December, and into 2024. Behind the scenes, her defense team pored over evidence, filing for protective orders on sensitive discovery materials and challenging her detention. By December 2023, the government sought court orders for her medical records from the Department of Corrections, hinting at emerging narratives around her mental health and medication influences, perhaps the seeds of a new excuse, tying her behavior to side effects from pramiprazole, a drug known for inducing hypersexuality and impulsive actions. Eleanor would later elaborate in writings the medication, prescribed for restless leg syndrome, had escalated her doses, leading to manic episodes, job loss, and compulsive dives into extreme online personas. These claims surfaced in motions for release, arguing her actions were aberrant, not inherent, but the court denied them in a redacted opinion issued in May 2024, after months of review. Status conferences in January, February, and April of 2024 focused on plea negotiations, with both sides weighing the evidence's weight against potential defenses. Eleanor's excuses evolved from immediate post-arrest rationalizations, helping the child, sustaining dialogue, to a broader narrative of pharmacological coercion, painting her as a victim of her own biology rather than a perpetrator. As April 24, 2004 approached, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation. A plea hearing loomed, the culmination of over a year in limbo, where Eleanor would face the decision to fight at trial or accept a deal, her once illustrious name forever shadowed by the events that began in that Warrenton parking lot.
Of course you take the deal. Like you're crazy.
Take the deal.
Like I don't. Yeah. If she was struggling with that,
life in prison.
Well, first of all, I feel like I don't know if this is true, but I don't know. I just feel like every person that's ever engaged in stuff like this, like this predator type behavior, where they're going after, innocent, unsuspecting children, or just harming children, or harming people that are smaller than you, or whatever. Yeah. they always are like, when they get caught, they're always like, I'm doing it to save them.
Yeah.
And then as soon it's like, oh, okay, good,
Yeah,
good for you.
good.
I'm glad you're trying to, let's dig into that a little bit.
Okay.
And it immediately just crumbles.
Yeah.
Because it never works. Like, of course
Right.
you're not doing that.
Like that, you know, oh, I was doing to help them. Okay, well, we'll just pack up here and head home.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh,
what do you think is going to come out of it?
Duh.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like that. And then you just start looking at, like, you know, the evidence, the text messages and all that stuff. And you can just, I'm sure the FBI agents, who are incredibly well trained
Right.
in interrogation techniques,
They have to see some dark shit.
especially in that field,
Ugh.
you know, like,
Yeah.
because, you know, I can't even imagine, like, because obviously this guy, this FBI agent, that's his job.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're assigned to, I don't know if he was in trouble, and like that's how you get assigned to it.
I'm sure
or whatever,
they go through desensitization training.
Yeah, and you know, maybe that was his turn to be the
guy,
the fake father, or maybe they take, you know, maybe there's a team of people,
Yeah.
but you know, they like just engaging back and forth with people on the other side.
Yeah.
You know, like you're trying to figure out how to engage this person, collect information for a potential case, and like not totally
Lose your shit.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, even at like a minimum, like
Or do anything illegal or anything in the process.
When
we
talked earlier, you know, at a minimum, she was sending very explicit images of children being penetrated by adult men.
Yeah.
Like, you have to see that shit. You know what I mean?
Right. And you have to act like you like it.
Right. Like,
and keep it going because you like, and maybe the drive to catch this person,
to
like
save.
It's like, you know, probably looking at a murder scene or all that stuff. Like it's kind of all in the same wheelhouse to some degree.
Right. Maybe seeing stuff like that drives you to get to the bot. You know what I mean?
I would think it would have to.
Right.
Like that's got to be the motivation and stuff like that. You just gotta
gotta get this person off the street.
But it's you know,
and then
like
the courts get their hands on them, and then they're out in fucking 4 years. But anyway,
but it's still gotta affect you.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine like what this guy was feeling when she showed up and it was time to make the arrest.
Oh, he's like I got you, bitch.
It was probably like this mixed, you know, bag of feelings because like, yeah, I got you.
Disgust,
but like
happiness.
You know, for every one person they arrest, there's 10 more that are doing it. Right. And it's like, you know, at least, yeah, it's got to feel good to finally get one of these people potentially off the street. But like, that's where your work that's just the start of it. Yeah. Because now you got to try to prosecute this person. And it just so happens that she's also super well connected, you know, like, so now that you know this person, you're like, okay, now I'm sure they knew before probably who she was and everything, but, well, I don't know.
Well,
would they have, because I'm
sure they did.
But she wouldn't be like using her name on the online, right? It would have to be like,
I wonder if, well, I mean, they employ hackers, so they must know, like, even though you're like, oh, my name's Tori for fun.
So even if they're
like, fuck off, Eleanor.
Yeah.
We know who you are.
We know exactly where you are right now, what you're doing. Yeah. I would think they would.
Right. But it's something I wanted to bring up before, but I didn't want to give away the story too much. But is you're from a family of lawyers. You went to law school, right? You're a paralegal.
Yeah.
You know all this. And they're like, oh, we're going to read you your Miranda rights. And you sing like a fucking bird.
Yeah. Well,
like, being from a family of attorneys, first rule of thumb is shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah. But I'm sure she, in her mind, because imagine what she was thinking.
Yeah. Like,
right?
Oh shit.
She was probably all amped up.
How can I back my way out of this?
Yeah. She was probably all amped up about doing this thing with this guy and this girl. And then before she even gets to the door where she's probably at her like peak excitement level. Yeah. She opens it up and it's a bunch of FBI agents.
No.
Like, oh my, like I don't know.
Your
like
world just fucking collapsed.
Everything.
And you're just clawing to.
Yeah. You just hit rock bottom. You just hit rock bottom right there. Probably don't even realize like how much worse it's about to get.
Right.
So, She opens the door, a bunch of FBI agents, they arrest her immediately. And yeah, she's probably thinking like, okay, how do I spin this thing?
Right.
You know, and yeah, I was concerned for the child. So I wanted to help the child. Okay, who'd you contact? Even if, let's just say for a second, that was her actual goal and it was genuine.
Yeah.
Like she genuinely was going to actually go out and
rescue her
and
from
rescue this
hotel,
girl.
hotel room. Yeah.
You're a woman,
Yeah.
and you know nothing against that, but like you're going by yourself. It could have been a man, it could have been anybody. You're going into a situation by yourself, and you've told nobody.
Right.
You just drove an hour and a half to get to this hotel or whatever.
Seedy motel.
Yeah. And you know you go in and like anything could have happened to you, to anyone, and then if something did happen to you, like you bust in there like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, I'm here to save the day. Now take playing cards from
with your trading cards.
Yeah.
Just start whistling out fucking trading
Hey,
cards.
maybe that was the guy. You know, hey, I'll trade you this Charizard for the little girl, and I'll save her. Maybe he was trying to do that. Maybe he was trying to steal the cards.
Maybe that's the goal. Yeah.
But anyway, you don't bust in there like Spider-Man and say like, I'm here to save the girl, and then you don't because they kill you, and then you've done nothing, and now nobody knows anything.
Nobody knows where you are.
So like, even if your intentions were good, you went about it all wrong. And I'm sure obviously the FBI agent saw right through that. And it's like, yeah, you didn't do anything to alert authorities, to tell anyone. You didn't even tell your family, your neighbor, didn't even leave a note.
Right.
You know, like, so what were you going to really do?
Your family is probably like the most prominent, prestigious law firm in the area. And you told no one.
And when they found out, I'm sure when her dad sat down in the office for the day and was looking through the records or whatever online, he saw his daughter's, he's like, oh, I don't want anything to do with that now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be attached to that at all, or her husband or whoever, you know.
Her father was attached to another.
Well, yes.
You want to talk about that now or after?
Are
we just going to keep dragging
we
this
could
along?
just keep dragging it along.
Okay.
But
all right. All right.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, the whole that she, you know, probably didn't have a whole lot of time to figure out like an excuse, a viable excuse.
Yeah.
But that one is pretty weak.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, I'm sure she's thinking of all the stuff that she has, not only on her phone, but elsewhere.
Right.
Where it's just going to help connect the dots,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't know if she was banking on like them not being able to get access to some of these things or whatever, but because yeah, maybe you could dismiss some of the messaging back and forth as her doing what he was doing to her, where she was like, no, I was just trying to keep him engaged so I could get an address or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, maybe I'd buy into the excuse that she's trying to help the minor if she came in with her own SWAT team, but she just came in by herself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what she was planning on doing to help, but it, you know, and it just goes to show how serious this whole thing was, because when they did arrest her and all that stuff, they didn't give her any bail. They gave her no release.
Right.
Even
after, because like, you know, after you get initially arrested, you know, a lot of times, you know, they're like, we're going to wait till a bail hearing.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to remand you until you get a bail hearing.
You can come. We trust you that you'll return. It's not that big of a deal or whatever. But if a judge sits there and goes, no bail.
Yeah. And then you have a secondary bail hearing to kind of figure out what's going on. Yeah. And they're like, no,
definitely no.
Definitely.
Yeah. We said no the first time. We're definitely saying no.
We're doubling down on the no.
You know, and I get it. Like, you know, maybe after being able to kind of like sit there and digest all of the stuff that just happened, you know, she had some time in a jail cell by herself, and she probably, you know, was thinking about everything. Yeah. And I understand that, you know, if you're going through the legal system, your best bet is to just plead not guilty. Right. Initially, you know, until you get a deal, because you're trying to wheel and deal and get the best outcome for yourself or whatever. Right. Regardless of the crime. Right. But come on, like there's so much, there's so much there. I'm sure that they, you know, that they have to use against you, and you know, they're going to be going through all that, your computers, all the stuff that you said, and, you know, I understand that there's, you know, a few charges and stuff like that. Maybe you can get a couple knocked off or whatever, but just own up to to what you're doing, you know,
the writing's on the wall.
The writing's on the wall, you know. But yeah, she pleads not guilty, hoping for the best outcome, and then tries to use the medication thing, and that is surprising to me. Like when you were reading that
restless leg,
the restless leg syndrome.
As I'm reading it, I saw it out of the corner of my eye. You were like, what?
I was like, I thought it was going to be for like something like depression psychosis or something. Yeah. And it's restless leg syndrome. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about anything. But
I guess it makes you horny for children, I guess. I don't know.
I'm shocked that there's... And I'm
imagine seeing that on the TV. Oh, side effects include heart palpitations,
Perpixapal or whatever it's called.
And molesting children.
Yeah. Is that a real thing? I'm assuming it's a real thing. I don't know.
Whatever. I mean...
That's shocking to me. Yeah. That's something to cure restless leg syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to minimize restless leg syndrome, but I feel like I'm yelling. I feel like
anyway, you're passionate about it. One of the was the side effect they said for increases hypersexuality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be a thing.
It's just surprising to me that something for like,
and how you direct that hypersexuality. You could do it in a healthy way, or you could try rape an 8-year-old.
Yeah, and I think as an adult, I would like to think that as an adult that you can distinguish between right and wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know. I take this drug for my restless leg syndrome, which I don't want to see anyone go through restless leg syndrome or anything like that. And you're trying to look for something to mitigate that.
Yeah, I think I have it.
I think a lot of people.
I think we talked about this. I mean. No, it was somebody else I was talking with. Like whenever I go to bed, I have to in order for me to relax, I can't relax without shaking my legs. Yeah. Like my legs are always moving.
Yeah. And I get it. Like there's people who just either deal with it or they get some help through their doctor or whatever. But, again, I think if I were taking a drug and it were, manipulating my brain chemistry to make me have
hypersexual thoughts,
negative thoughts about anything. I would say, hey, doc, I don't, this is taking me down a weird path. We got to get off this drug. You got to give me something else. Mm-hmm. So why she couldn't have done that, I don't know why. Yeah.
She could have obviously done a lot of things.
Right. So I think to use the, this medication defense that it caused side effects, like it just kind of also, if I was a juror, I'd be like, okay, maybe it did, but why didn't you try to like do something to change it? Right. There's plenty of people who change their prescriptions all the time. Yeah.
And like I said, like every instance that comes up in life, whatever situation or any situation that comes up in life, you're at a crossroad. You could do the right thing or the healthy thing, or you could do the bad, unhealthy, potentially illegal thing. No matter what it is, you always have a choice.
Yeah, and she chose what she chose,
and that's why I'm thinking like maybe something deeply rooted is steering her in that direction. I don't know. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying anytime, like, dealing with, the past 7 years, learning about serial killers and like all this other kind of shit, there's always a when. Yeah. Like when in their life did they turn from this to this?
And, I'm not saying that drugs can't do that to people. Absolutely they can. They can, whether it's like hard drugs, like street drugs or whatever, it definitely changes people. It definitely changes, like, your brain chemistry and all that stuff. Like you will do anything to get that high or get that drug or whatever in certain instances, or even prescription drugs, drugs that are prescribed to you by doctors. There's people who are they accidentally do misuse combine drugs that they're lawfully prescribed, and it does mess with you.
Heath Ledger.
And so it is totally a valid defense. I think if that genuinely happened, if those things genuinely happened, I think there are also instances where you're just kind of reaching for it as an excuse to try to get you out of trouble when you've been caught. Yeah. And
that's definitely her attorneys.
Yeah, and I
just, you're on this. Well, it says down in side effect 87.
Yeah, on page 453.
That hypersexuality affects 0.001% of the people who take this.
And in one of our million trials when we were testing this drug, it affected like one person once, or whatever. Yeah. No, like obviously things can happen, but yeah, I think that there's probably them seeing that and using like, hey, we can try to use this and see if it helps. Right. But I don't know. I just feel like with all of the information, a jury probably would have seen through this. And
like I know a couple of people who are in the law field, and one of them was a defense attorney or worked for a defense attorney. And basically in any criminal case or any case, you want to create doubt.
Yeah.
Especially in a jury trial.
100%. And they're
if you can create doubt, then that's
and
it.
There's so many ways you can attack it.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. Like, they're very defense attorney, and everyone's entitled to a good defense. And everybody, all that stuff, innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. Definitely believe in all that stuff. But and lawyers are incredibly good at sowing doubt. Like they just are, and that's what they're there for, right? Yep. And I understand that she's probably familiar with that, with her legal background and her upbringing and all that stuff. They
probably have like a brainstorming session.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, nobody's wrong. No wrong answers.
Throw it at the thing.
Let's throw it out. This, you were just trying to help her. Nope. This. And,
drugs.
Drugs. Oh, yeah. Okay.
That helps.
Yeah. We'll put that one up there.
Yeah, and you just list everything, and then you bring it to the negotiating table, probably knowing you're going to try to get a plea deal. Yeah. And hope that it does something to, whittle down some of the charges, and on the other side, the prosecutors, they're like, yeah, we know exactly what charge we want to go for. We want the enticing the minor charge because it carries a 10-year mandatory minimum. And it is, in this case, probably the easiest thing to prove. Right. So they were like
text messages.
So like they all,
well, I thought the child sexual abuse material was pretty solid. Was that the one she got charged with? Convicted with?
No, she got convicted of enticing a minor.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it was.
All right.
But
either way, she's 10 years.
So yeah.
Did we discuss that part in the story yet?
I don't know yet.
No, we didn't do that.
It's just yeah. But anyway, what I'm getting at is
spoiler alert.
they probably on the prosecutor side, they know what they're willing to accept for the plea for a plea deal, and on the other side, they probably have an idea of what the other side's thinking too. Right. So, but anyway, I don't know. Lot to unpack with that one.
Let's see what she was charged with, or agreed to.
I'm curious. I'm curious as well.
See how many years she got sentenced. All right. So the courtroom in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia hummed with a subdued tension on April 24th, 2024, as Eleanor Hoppe, now 46, and a shadow of the poised socialite she once was, stood before Judge Rudolph Contreras. More than a year had passed since her arrest in that Warrenton motel parking lot, a period marked by incarceration, legal wrangling, and the slow erosion of her defenses. The plea hearing, rescheduled from earlier dates amid ongoing negotiations, represented the pivotal moment where her case would pivot from potential trial to resolution. Flanked by her public defender, Ubong Akpan, Eleanor appeared via the courtroom's video system from her cell at the D.C. Central Detention Facility, her face etched with the wear of months in custody. The air was thick with the weight of her family's legacy, descendants of legal titans, now compared against the grim charges that had brought her here. Prosecutors Carolyn Burrell and Rachel Foreman laid out the plea agreement with clinical precision. Eleanor would plead guilty to a single count of distribution of child pornography, a felony carrying a mandatory minimum of 5 years, but capped at 20. In exchange, the government would drop the more severe charges of enticement of a minor and attempted transportation of a minor for sexual activity, which could have meant life behind bars. The deal included a recommended sentence of 135 months, 11 years and 3 months, followed by 10 years of supervised release and a requirement to register as a sex offender for at least 25 years. It was a calculated mercy, but one that acknowledged the damning evidence, the explicit messages, the shared videos of child exploitation, and her arrival at the motel with items poised for abuse. Eleanor, her voice steady but laced with resignation, affirmed her understanding of the agreement. She waived her right to a jury trial, admitting under oath that she had knowingly distributed child sexual abuse material during her communications with the undercover agent. Gone were the initial excuses from her interrogation, the claims of intending to help the fictitious child or merely sustaining dialogue to expose the father. In their place, her defense had evolved into a narrative of personal turmoil, influenced by medication side effects, which she argued had triggered hypersexual impulses and manic behavior. Yet in this moment, she offered no further protests. The plea was entered, and the courtroom's focus shifted to the looming sentencing. The path to sentencing stretched over the next year, a series of delays that tested the patience of all involved. Initially set for September 23, 2024, the date was pushed back repeatedly, first to March 27, 2025, then to May 1st, and finally to June 5th, due to unopposed motions from the defense citing the needs for additional evaluations, including a psychosexual report and time to incorporate it into the pre-sentence investigation. Behind the scenes, Eleanor's team submitted a sentencing memorandum on May 23, 2025, accompanied by exhibits that painted a portrait of a woman undone by circumstance. Letters from supporters highlighted her past as a devoted mother and community volunteer. Medical records detailed her restless leg syndrome and the drug's rare but documented side effects, which had allegedly spiraled into compulsive online explorations of taboo fetishes. Supplements to the memo arrived in early June, including additional character references and perhaps glimpses of remorse, as Eleanor grappled with the fallout on her two daughters, now navigating adolescence without her. The government, in its own filing on April 28, 2025, countered with the unvarnished facts: her enthusiastic participation in the plot, the graphic content shared, and the risk she posed to society, urging adherence to the plea deal's recommended term. On June 5, 2025, the sentencing hearing unfolded in courtroom 23A, an in-person proceeding that brought Eleanor face-to-face with her reckoning. Judge Contreras, having reviewed the pre-sentence report and the party's submissions and the aberrational nature of her crimes amid medication-induced mania. Prosecutors reiterated that betrayal of trust, noting her background as a mother and her access to children through prior volunteer work. Eleanor, given the chance to speak, may have expressed regret, though records capture no dramatic monologue, only the quiet acceptance of her consequences. In the end, the judge imposed the agreed-upon 135 months, crediting time for time served, followed by a decade of supervision and the lifelong stigma of a sex offender. Counts 1 and 2 were dismissed on the government's motion, and a $100 special assessment was levied. As the gavel fell, Eleanor's fate was sealed. Commitment to the Bureau of Prisons, her once privileged life reduced to a federal inmate number. Post-conviction, Eleanor's world contracted to the regimented confines of federal incarceration. Assigned to a women's facility, she began serving her term in the summer of 2025. Life behind bars was a far cry from Charlottesville's social circles, days structured around meals, work assignments, and limited recreation, with access to counseling programs aimed at sex offenders. Reports suggest she engaged in therapy, perhaps confronting the impulses that led her astray, while maintaining sparse contact with her family through monitored calls and visits. No appeals were filed in the immediate aftermath. The docket remained quiet through early 2026, with no motions challenging the sentence or plea. Eleanor, ever the product of her upbringing, might have turned inward, reading legal texts or writing reflections on redemption. Her story, a cautionary tale of how privilege offers no immunity from downfall. As months will painstakingly turn to years, she has no choice but to navigate the slow grind toward release in 2036. Her post-conviction existence a quiet testament to accountability, shadowed by the indelible mark of her crimes.
Yeah, she'll write a book and there'll be a Netflix movie and like and all this stuff, and she'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll be.
Yeah, it's gotta be crazy.
Yeah.
Like being 46 years old, going from your high life to the low life of prison.
Yeah,
and just being stuck in the regimented day in day out of whatever that's like.
Yeah, going from like activity to school to whatever social events you're going to now being relegated to your cell and the common area.
Yeah, even before then, like being stuck in prison for a year while they're trying to put all this whole thing together. Yeah, you're just waiting. You don't even know what you're going for or what you're gonna get. You know, and you're doing it under the careful guidance of a public defender.
Yeah,
which is curious.
Right, her family didn't fork up a.
Well, yeah, so that she has, obviously all these legal connections, but like, I mean, and if I'm sure if I'm part of a well-to-do law firm.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin my
want your name-
reputation
yeah, you don't
ever,
want your
you
name.
know.
Yeah. They're like, sorry, but
So
You're
yeah,
on your own.
maybe, and you know, it's not normal for, you shouldn't represent a family member because you don't want to be biased or anything like
Conflict
that.
of interest.
Conflict of interest and all that stuff.
but
They probably know people. They probably know people that can defend her.
right.
You know, and nothing to knock
Yeah.
the public defender's office.
Right.
There's really, really good public defenders out there, and I'm glad that stuff exists. But it's just surprising that, you know, someone in
a family with money and
connections
in the legal.
that you would think that she would have had the best of the best,
Right.
You know. So yeah, it is.
Or at least somebody.
It makes you just wonder. Maybe nobody wanted to touch it at that point.
Yeah.
It just makes you wonder why that decision was made. You know, maybe she made the decision. Maybe she was like, you know what? No, I'm not putting anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she did. Once she was caught, maybe she realized, maybe she did come out of her medically induced psychosis or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Her mania.
Mm-hmm. From restless leg syndrome.
Yeah, and she realized, like, you know what? I own this. Whatever.
Right.
I'm not going to put my family through it any more than I have to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ruin anyone else's reputation, although you do. There's no preventing that.
No.
You know, I'm going to just use the resources that I have available to me. And if that's a public defender, that's a public defender.
Yeah. I think the husband, you know, he kind of gets away scot-free. He's like, oh, I separated from her way before this happened.
Yeah. I never saw anything like this.
Yeah, this is crazy.
You
Whereas
know?
the family's like, fuck.
But even he can't really, I don't even think even really he can escape it. And I feel bad for her daughters because,
Yeah.
you know, that's,
Yeah. They got to go through that. They're young. They still got, this is only 2 years ago. 3 years now.
Yeah.
This is only like
she
3
was
years
just,
ago.
yeah. And she was just,
So
last year she was sentenced.
They
So,
were just now, maybe the oldest just now is going into high school.
yeah.
So they still have to endure probably the worst, what
Yeah.
can possibly be the worst years of their life, high school.
You
So,
know, yeah, you know, high schools are already hard,
yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
let alone
Having that.
having that story over your head, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
But yeah,
Selfish.
for me, yeah, especially if I was guilty of something, I would be happy to be done with it.
Mm.
You know, once a verdict was read or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if I felt like I was innocent, I would pursue it to the bitter end.
Right.
You know, but obviously, you know, that she didn't do that. She didn't file any appeals, or at least not now, anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I I hope everyone continued on listening to the.
Are you going to divulge?
No.
any of
'Cause,
it? Oh.
well, we can talk about that in a second. But the other thing that we've been dragging people, but I thought she actually did get charged with enticing a minor.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you just read about what that charge entails, it just seems like that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously she got the lesser charge of
Pornographic
material and stuff like that. So, so maybe her wheeling and dealing with her attorneys and stuff like that, and her medication excuse and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that resonated with the prosecutors enough to be like, all right, if we can avoid a trial, an expensive trial, and all that stuff, we'll settle for the lesser charge.
Right.
And I don't even know. I wonder how people feel about that. I mean, she didn't do anything, you know, ultimately to anyone physically or anything like that. But
That we
if
know
she-
of.
That's true. That is true.
Who knows if
At
this
least
was
in
the first time?
At least in this case.
Yeah. There was a few years ago, probably more than a few years ago, but you know how like, you know, nowadays in political correctness, you know, they come up with terms, new terms of what we used to use, you know, like, for example, homeless, right? Now it's unhoused,
Yeah.
right? It just makes it
Sound less harsh.
whatever. Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
So I don't know if anybody remembers this, but years ago, probably I'll say 5 years ago, there was actually a term that was going around for pedophiles that made it less offensive. And it was called minor attracted individuals. And people were in support
Of that.
of that. You know,
Yeah.
pedophiles.
Yeah,
that's a gross, disgusting name. Let's call them minor attracted. And it's normal. It's normal to be minor attracted. That was that's actually what was going around. It's crazy. It's absolutely fucking crazy. You didn't hear about that?
No, I've never.
Yeah,
heard
I would
that.
say probably about 5 years ago.
It doesn't surprise me because obviously we've changed lots of terms throughout. I mean, we covered North State Hospital and all that stuff, and like they changed the name of that and everything because they're trying to, I don't know, because certain words over time they get like a stigma attached to them or something, and then they try to mute the harshness of it or whatever. So it doesn't surprise me. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's easier said than done to sit here and be like, oh, well, if you have a problem and it's wrong, you should try to talk to a professional and get help in other ways and try not to act out on those impulses. Obviously, it's good that she's going to therapy in prison and all that stuff, and hopefully she's getting all the help she needs and everything. Yeah. It would have been probably better for everyone if she had just done it beforehand. But it's, again, that's
the medicine.
There's a lot of people who find themselves in those situations, and not just with stuff like this, but people who, are addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever. It's really, really easy to be like, oh yeah, just go get help or go manage it with professional help or whatever. And it's like,
not as easy.
Not as easy to think.
Right.
And I'm sure there are people who are like, oh, that 11 years for sending messages back and forth, that's crazy. And I'm sure there's people out there like only 11 years. Yeah. Like if this had been a real thing, she would have done something. So.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm a firm believer of lock them up, throw away the key.
Yeah.
I
even for something like this where
she had an intent to do it.
Yep.
Right. Whatever. And like I said, who knows if this is her first time? This is the first time she got caught.
Yeah.
And obviously she had everything from her messages and everything. She had everything planned. Oh, make sure you wash her. Make sure, this, make sure basically telling the father how to condition the child to make what she's about to do to her normal.
Yeah.
So that's not something you just like pick up on a whim. That's something you probably, like I said, either a learned behavior or something you've done before. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it is one of those things, and I would be curious to learn more about the drug and everything, and how if something like this has actually ever happened to anybody else,
right,
on that type of drug, and then obviously there's the letters from supporters for her, which obviously is critical for if you're advocating for leniency,
right.
She would need as much as she could get,
which is wild to me that she actually had letters from.
That's
supporters.
what I was gonna say.
If her family basically said, "Oh nope, go get a public defender. We're not defending you, or we're not finding someone for you." But yet you're going to find a person be like, yeah, she's great. She just made a mistake,
I think they have to believe, and that's probably why it was so critical for her to have this medical induced mania from this prescription drug, because there are going to be people that are like, yeah, she, I knew her before all this, before the divorce, everything. She was amazing. Yeah. Always attentive, always being cautious and safe and good with children, whatever my experiences are with her. I just knew her as a good person, and I can't believe it's like a mother, when your son or whomever commits a crime. Not my boy. You got the wrong person. You got the wrong girl or whatever. Not it couldn't be my children.
Right.
Where they just kind of they buy into whatever the excuse is. And like I said, maybe it's valid, maybe it's not. But I could see people being like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It was definitely a drug.
Right.
There's no way she would have ever done that.
Yeah.
If not for the drug.
I don't know.
So obviously it worked on them enough to, I don't know how many character witnesses or whatever letters of support she got, but there was at least some. So
yeah, good for her.
Yeah. Again, yeah.
Didn't help, but yeah. Good
no,
for her.
I mean, well, the judge took the prosecutor's recommendation and all that stuff. Doesn't mean he had to.
Right.
He could have potentially charged her with more time.
Yeah. Yeah, it did say up to 20.
So he went with the recommendation, and I'm not saying that those swayed him at all, but he could have been like, what? I don't think 11 years is enough, so we're gonna give her 15. And sorry, here's your letter, supporters, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah, because I think the sentencing parameters went from 5 to 20.
Yeah.
Minimum 5
up to 20. And this is actually interesting because I would be curious to know how long she's been on this restless leg syndrome drug. Because she was, we had to do a little digging, but she was actually charged with a crime before this in 2019. Here, let's see if I can pull it.
This is what we've been waiting for. I've been trying to tie this in the whole episode.
I know. It's you start going and then your mind just you lose stuff. But yeah, so she had a prior arrest in 2019. Yeah, so we had to do a little bit of digging. There was the arresting officer, Kevin Fabian. He remained tight-lipped about the 2019 incident that led him to arrest Hope on a charge of undressing where prohibited in Pocahontas State Park.
Yep.
And I guess what happened was there were two individuals that were charged with violation of Virginia State Park regulation, and they carry a maximum fine of $500. And the district court records show that both Hope and Hersey were found guilty in absentia. Hope was assessed a $172 fine, which she appealed, and Hersey paid $187.
So what happened?
Hersey, I guess, is a photographer.
Yeah.
His primary subjects are nude women in outdoor settings. Right. And that's all he was doing that day with Eleanor.
Okay.
That's what he told whomever. Apparently she had seen his work online. She contacted him about doing some photos, and he wrote an email, and then they did the shoot at Pocahontas Park.
Nice. Okay.
And that's when a park ranger
stumbled upon
and saw her naked.
Yeah.
Thus the two misdemeanors.
Right. Who was she defended by? Who defended her?
So he said he felt like the photographer felt like that the charges were trumped up, but he didn't think it was worth fighting, so he just sent the money in and said whatever. Hoppe performed 25 hours of community service in lieu of paying the fine before the Commonwealth moved to dismiss the charges in circuit court. Court records show that Hoppe was represented in the case by her father, Eppa Huntington, and who ultimately declined to comment for the story. So yeah, she was in 2019 charged with
posing nude in a state forest.
Yeah, got caught, and it's weird that she would rather have done the 25 hours of. I guess she really liked community service.
Yeah.
Well,
that was what, 2019?
2019, yeah.
Which means she was still married.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's just so.
I wonder if that's what led to the allegations of infidelity, adultery.
Maybe. Yeah. And maybe
obviously, she likes to. I mean, there is a thrill of being naked in a state forest, especially one entitled Pocahontas State Forest.
I guess. It makes you wonder, like,
brings you back to nature.
The timing of it all, like, was that when she started the prescription meds, or maybe?
Maybe like the decision to get naked in a state park was because
the start of it
of the restless leg syndrome.
Yeah, and then
could be
it just built from there.
Yeah. And led to the adultery, spiraled to children.
But definitely not her first. This wasn't her
foray.
Foray with the justice system.
Yeah.
And kind of been on both sides of it, right? Like as a paralegal, probably helping people, defending people, and then being on the other side, now spending the next 11 years in jail and the rest of her life as a registered sex offender.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely a wild story.
That is something the judge did against the recommended
of the prosecution.
Yeah, prosecution was like 25 years as a registered sex offender.
Yeah.
And the judge was like, nope, go fuck yourself. Lifetime registration.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for Tori for Fun. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Before you go, if you found what you heard was interesting, go to Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review or a comment on the episode. And don't forget, go to patreon.com/criminalaf to show your generous support. Once again, thank you for listening to Criminal AF. I'm Dave Jari.
I'm Casey Moore.
And we are out of here. See ya!
Whispers in the dark, blood on innocence page. Truth hides behind the lies, locked inside they'd rage. Shadows creeping across the floor, silence screaming through the door. Criminal AF can't deny, burning bright under blackened sky. Criminal AF, hear the cry, echoes loud, we can't outrun the night. Can't outrun the night. Secrets buried in the shade. Promises we never made. Fingers pointing at the moon while the walls into chrome. Footsteps fade against the stone. All the ghosts we've